Okay, this is going to be a great Friday night because we are going to do what we do every single day. We are going to go hop into some real money fantasy football drafts. I don't want to waste your time. Let's go through and let's hop into this draft right now. Thank you to everybody coming out to this draft with us. We have about 4 spots open. If you're wanting to hop in here, let me go through and set a thumbnail to this. Let's pull up this live chat and see who is cool enough to be drafting fantasy football teams on a Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, like we are. Okay, so we have 3 spots open. This should be filled in about 10 seconds. And if you are one of those people that tell me, Mason, you know what? I want to get in drafts with you, but it's too hard. I can never get in time. I always miss it. Hell, this is a perfect example of you having the ability to get into this draft. We are sitting here for an entire minute with all this time waiting. So if you usually are too slow to get in these drafts, what you need to do is subscribe and hit the bell next to the subscribe button like you've had from Chris, who's always out here, Bobby, Brandon, Zachary, Brett, Denke, Lorenzo, Jacob, Nico, Nick, Zach, Mystery. Thank you. I appreciate y'all, and I'm going to be happy to get this going. Someone asking if this is a puppy draft. No, this is going to be a Best Ball Mania. This is going to be the $25 buy-in, $2 million to first. Yes, you do have first place getting paid in your 12-team league, second place getting paid in your 12-team league, but a small percentage of every league pot set aside for that massive tournament at the very end of the season, which I know everybody knows about by now, but I have to bring it up just in case somehow, some way, there's one person in this live stream that doesn't know yet. And I'm assuming we're just locking in Jonathan Taylor. I will say it's difficult to draft from the 101, knowing that at the 2-3 turn, we are going to want to have some wide receivers making it to us. But we are going to be looking at T. Higgins. We are going to be looking at A.J. Brown. And I used to love drafting A.J. Brown at the 2-3 turn back when we could get Jalen Hurts. But now Jalen Hurts isn't making it there. So what I've actually been doing in some of these drafts, I don't want to say that we are doing it in this one guaranteed because I want to have a feel of the overall draft room through the first 2 rounds. We may just indeed go Kyle Pitts now. No guarantees, not guaranteeing that we are going to go Kyle Pitts, but it will be in the cards, especially if we want to have that highest ceiling possible. But let's wait. Let's see how this draft goes. So far, you have these wide receivers getting pushed up. Justin Jefferson 2, Cooper Kupp 3, CMC goes off at 4, Eckler 5. Eckler over Chase is very interesting. I've seen this happening more and more where Jamar Chase does fall to 6 and 7. While I understand, yes, you had T. Higgins with a higher overall target share in this offense last year. You had T. Higgins with more air yards per game. No, Jamar Chase still an elite option. I'm still willing to draft Jamar Chase at 5 over someone like Eckler, where we're expecting regression and that Austin Eckler is not going to drop 20 touchdowns again this upcoming season. He dropped 20 touchdowns last year. And you know what you should be doing right now? You should be dropping a like on the live stream, subscribing to the channel. That's what you should be doing. Okay, so afterwards, you have Stephon Diggs 8, Najee Harris 9. No real surprises outside of pick 2, and I'd say pick 5 as well. Okay, so Dalvin at 10. It's honestly hard for us to root for anything whenever we are so far away. The only thing we could really root for is to see a glimpse of some craziness. We want a glimpse of craziness to say, okay, well, maybe people are going to make plays in this. Nick coming out with a donation. Thank you, my man. Long time no see, says, hey, man, 12-team PPR Dynasty Superflex format. Are we going to go Kyler and Debo or Russell Wilson and CeeDee Lamb? In Dynasty, I'm easily going to prefer Lamb over Debo Samuel, despite Debo being more productive last season than CeeDee Lamb has ever been so far through his NFL career. But the gap between Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson for me is probably going to be a little bit larger, where I would lean with Kyler Murray and Debo Samuel. I'm looking at Kyler Murray as one of those cornerstone quarterbacks that you build around for a very long time. So we have DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones going picks 16 and 17. Really no surprises, I mean, at all so far. You have the team at the turn taking both tight ends. in Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews. You have Evans, 19. It looks like this is going to be a standard draft, so it's going to be hard for us to find values. We are going to have to be confident with the player prototypes we're going with. Uncle Rico, 55 on the clock. CMC in the first, Kamara in the second. Okay, there are two players I really want. Let's see if they end up making it to us. Okay, this team took Kupp. We have the Kupp and Justin Jefferson team on. Okay, they go Saquon Barkley. This is the Justin Jefferson team at 2 on the clock. Interesting for them to take Jefferson there. They go Tyreek Hill. Oh my gosh. I feel like we are boxed out. We're definitely going to go Kyle Pitts. We were talking about going Kyle Pitts. I think it's a very flat tier at the wide receiver position here. I think when we take Kyle Pitts, pair him up with Jonathan Taylor, it's going to be a unique start, knowing where both of these players go in the majority of these drafts. Very rarely are you actually seeing overlap between them. And I hate to do this, but I honestly don't really feel comfortable taking Higgins or A.J. Brown here either. I think I'm going to go ahead and probably take Nick Chubb. Like y'all know, last year I was never drafting Chubb. Last year I thought Nick Chubb was one of the worst values in fantasy in the first round, but we are going to continue to take him here when he falls to round 3. This is a unique start. I'm a little bit nervous to have this start. I will admit that. Alex says, Mason, what up, man? What do you think about the rookie and sophomore 2 contest? I'm not a massive fan of rookies and sophomores. I know a ton of people have a lot of fun with it, and trust me, y'all know I love me some dynasty rookie drafts. But I mean, if I'm going to go through and hop into these drafts every single day, like, there's nothing more fun than these real money 2022 fantasy football drafts. Like, I could do 1,000 of these, and every one that I do is just as fun as the last. So I don't need the new rookie and sophomore. I'm fine just sticking with this and diving into this. And real quick, if you want to go hop in some real money 2022 fantasy football drafts, you know how to do that. Go to the link in the description. Go to the link in the live chat. Go sign up to Underdog Fantasy, where everybody watching this live stream knows that we do these live streams every single day. Not only am I drafting on the live stream every single day, drafts that you can get in, but also I'm just drafting in the public lobby every single day, every second, every single day, because these drafts are so much freaking fun. And when you go and sign up and you use promo code FLOCK, they will match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And on top of that, you are going to get our 2022 rankings, our dynasty rankings, our dynasty rookie rankings, and you'll support the channel. But after we take Nick Chubb, you have Javonte Williams in a free fall. Now, Javonte Williams was a player we talked about a couple weeks ago, almost a month ago at this point, in being a very bad value when he was going at the end of the second round, the beginning of the third round. But this is the newest player to just fall down draft boards. He has consistently been going here around pick 32, 33. I was in a couple drafts this morning off the live stream, and in 2 of those drafts I did this morning, I actually ended up taking Javonte Williams. As crazy as that sounds, I ended up taking Javonte Williams right around this point, pick 33, 34, as a running back that I was saying, well, yeah, he's in a committee in Denver. It's still an elite level offense. We know he has an elite efficiency profile. So it's interesting, but I'm fine going Javonte here. And then Nick says, Lance or Deshaun Watson in a PPR Dynasty 12-team league. Y'all know I love me some Trey Lance. I mean, nobody likes Lance as much as I do. Literally, we just made our entire brand last season around Trey Lance from a Dynasty perspective, looking at Lance as a player that was going behind freaking Justin Fields in rookie drafts, screaming how ludicrous it was and how Lance was someone you need to get in every single Dynasty league. I'm going to go Watson. I'm not a lawyer. I have no idea how much time he misses. I'm going to go Watson. Okay, so Cortland Sutton goes pick 40, Deontay Johnson 39, DJ Moore 38. I guess it is surprising to see Justin Herbert go at pick 37. You're seeing Justin Herbert not only go at pick 37, which is early for Herbert, but at the same time, you're seeing him go to a team that doesn't have either Mike Williams or Keenan Allen. So if you look at that Justin Herbert ADP, which is in the middle of the 4th round, that ADP honestly is a little bit skewed because That's just the Mike Williams team. That's the Keenan Allen team going out there, taking Justin Herbert in the 4th, knowing that there's a low probability he comes back in the 5th, and they need to complete that stack. So Herbert's ADP overall is already a little inflated. And if you're taking him before that point, I feel like getting Herbert here at 37 is disastrous. I really do not like that. But what I do like, some of these players that are falling to us here at the 4-5 turn. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. Jerry Jeudy goes pick 45. There are a couple different plays I think we can make. Okay, I really want to do something in particular, and I know people are going to roll their eyes. People are going to hate it, but hell, if I want to burn my $25, if I want to light my $25 on fire, you got to let me do me. And Dana White says, yo, Mason, I used code FLOCK when I deposited on Underdog. How do I acquire the draft guide? Thank you so much, my man. Underdog sends you an automated email about an hour after you sign up to the email address that you signed up for Underdog Fantasy for, and they will have our 2022 draft guide, Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide there. They will also have a link to Locals, and with that link to Locals, a code to get past our paywall, because all our rankings and stuff are behind a paywall. But like I said, when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, use promo code FLOCK, you will get a code to get past that. I am going to try something crazy here. Yes, we are going crazy. I understand that. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Okay, please. We are trying to build a unique team. First and foremost, this is a massive large field tournament. While yes, it's a 12-team league, you want to get paid by getting first in this league. You want to get paid by getting second in this league. But most importantly, you need to try to create a unique build that has access to an elite ceiling for that tournament at the very end. And on top of this, if we go through and look at this draft room so far, you have the team at the very end here taking both Kelsey and Mark Andrews, going with the bully tight end strategy, which I would not recommend taking Kelsey and Andrews on the same roster. I think the opportunity cost is too high. But here for us to take Pitts and George Kittle, we are going to go through and we are going to also go with the bully tight end strategy. And I think that this may have a double down effect in terms of pushing tight ends up in those middle rounds. At least we can hope for it to. Of course, there's a good chance it doesn't happen, and I'm just sitting here on the live stream looking like an idiot. But I got to be honest with you, if I wasn't live streaming, this is exactly what I would have done. I would have taken Mahomes, I would have taken Kittle, we would have rolled the dice that somehow, some way, we can find some wide receivers making it to us later on. So yes, it's spicy, it's risky, it's potentially catastrophic, but when we are in these drafts, I talk about this all the time. If you're playing in your 12-team regular league just with your buddies, yeah, you can go out there and instead of trying to hit a home run every single time, you can try to hit a double. You can try to... No, here it's home run or strikeout. I don't care how stupid I look when I strike out, as long as I go up to the plate and if I hit that homer on 20% of my at-bats, hell, I don't care if I swing and miss for 80% of those at-bats, don't even make contact, don't even foul a pitch off. Home run or strikeout, that's how we're approaching this. Now, we have Montgomery, Breece Hall. Really, no surprising picks through this. I would say Smith at 61 is a little early. Like a lot of these drafts, you are getting Smith falling to the 6-7 turn. And at this point, even if we were to have, say, a fantastic value like Jalen Hurts making it to us at pick 72, like Lamar Jackson pick 74, dear God. Oh my gosh, you have to be so freaking excited about that. Like, even if we have someone like Jalen Hurts making it to us at 72, we are so down bad at wide receiver that it almost doesn't matter the value that we have at any other position. We are almost locked into receiver or running back at the 6-7 turn. Cheeky Hobson says, shout out from Shirts, Texas. Shout out Shirts, Texas. I will be back to Texas literally next week. On Monday, packing up from Florida, moving back to Texas. Not to Shirts, but to Austin. But shout out definitely. Okay. Joe Burrow, 67, good thing for us. Get these quarterbacks off. Dalton Schultz off, good. There we go. That's exactly what we want to see. Next, we want to see Hawkinson. I'd imagine you don't get TJ Hawkinson off the board until about pick 78, 79, though. What would be really cool is if we saw one of the Darren Waller teams or Dalton Schultz team also go through and taking Hawkinson. That would be interesting. But we need to also keep in mind that we are going to be looking for those Kansas City players a little bit later on. I'm not taking any of the Kansas City options here. I believe we already have Juju Smith-Schuster off the board at pick 53. But we are going to be looking at a Marquez Valdes-Scantling later on. And usually you would never be able to get Sky Moore in these drafts because Sky Moore's ADP was horrendous. He was going at the end of the 7th round. Now Sky Moore is falling to sometimes the end of the 8th round, the beginning of the 9th. So if we could look to get Sky Moore at pick 96, that would be great, but I'm not going to be reaching on Sky Moore here at either pick 72 or 73. Elijah Mitchell off. Good. I really like these wide receivers making it to us. I am completely fine with any of these wide receivers here. There are two. I don't even want to. I don't want to throw a fit in it. Man, just give me take whoever you want. Give me one of these wide receivers. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be very happy here on the turn. Okay. Steve says, this is one unique build, Tom Mason. Yes, it's unique in that anybody with the brain doesn't go for it. Anybody with the brain realizes, hell, why would I ever do that? Why would I ever do such a thing? So we are going to be here probably just galaxy branding ourselves and talking ourselves into drafting the worst fantasy team imaginable and somehow trying to sell it as if it's good. So here, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, running back, Kyle Pitts, George Kittle, tight end, Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, Michael Thomas, Adam Thielen. Got some old heads coming in at wide receiver that I really like that. And Navark says, Courtland Sutton going over Jerry Jeudy now. Crazy, yes. Courtland Sutton goes over Jerry Jeudy in almost every single draft. I am going to continue to try to fight the good battle. I'm going to continue to try to let people know that Courtland Sutton is being severely overdrafted. But I'm telling you right now, I'm losing this battle, okay? I'm outgunned. I'm outmanned. Everybody likes the big-bodied wide receiver that, yes, is a deep threat. Yes, racked up a ridiculous amount of air yards this past year, but I am still all in on Mr. Jerry Jeudy. Okay, we have a little bit of a wide receiver run happening. Yeah, Marquez Valdes-Scantling going to pick 75 by false. How early did he go ahead and take Marquez Valdes-Scantling? Marquez Valdes-Scantling has an ADP of 96. So on average, we should be able to get him here at the 8-9 turn, but he takes him at 75. So I don't know if he is a hater of the live stream trying to get a shout out right now, but hell, I do not care. You do you, my friend. You do you. Russell Gage, 77. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 78. Tony Pollard, 79. Come on. Let's start getting these tight ends off. Russell Wilson, 81. If we were looking at quarterback later on, I would be perfectly fine going with a Trey Lance at the 8-9 turn. I understand, yes, we still need to be bringing in some of these skill positional players. We definitely want wide receivers there if we can have them. But if we were looking at someone like Lance, it would bring in the stack with Kittle. We would lock ourselves into only 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends. And we're only going to draft 5 RBs here as well when we take the combination of Jonathan Taylor and Nick Chubb. So I'm no mathematician, but if I was a mathematician, I'd go, oh, we get to draft 9 wide receivers. That's going to be great. And I am still going to hammer in Michael Thomas. I actually just recorded a video that will come out in a couple days about Michael Thomas, speaking on the fact that he is currently falling like a rock in fantasy football drafts. Like, I went out and I believe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I put out a video saying why you needed to draft Michael Thomas here when he was going at the beginning of the 6th round. Michael Thomas was going at pick 61, 62, 63 consistently. And I was going, oh my gosh, this is great value with Michael Thomas. His price point's going to go up as the offseason goes on. And then you had Jarvis Landry sign. Then you had Michael Thomas reportedly still dealing with this ankle injury, still not able to make it. Not able to freaking make it to camp. Like, so yes, he is fallen. Yes, I'm looking like a bozo, and I'll admit, probably am that bozo, but I'm not done. I'm not done drafting Thomas. I'm continuing to double down, continuing to take him here at the 6-7 turn. Like I said, with that Michael Thomas selection, we're not looking for a single. I'm not looking to step up to the plate and walk to first base. This is a $25 buy-in, $2 million to first. I'm stepping up to the plate, looking over the fence, And that's the only thing I care about. And I think that if we're talking about the potential to win $2 million, who has it in the range of outcomes to win you $2 million? Michael Thomas, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Adam Thielen, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Treylon Burks, or Russell Gage. What player there has the potential to actually win you $2 million? Are you? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Hawkinson is really here, ain't he? Yeah, that Kittle selection, horrendous. That George Kittle selection, laughably bad, ladies and gentlemen, laughably bad. Now, I honestly don't. Hey, go Claypool. You know what we're going to do? We were thinking we were going to draft 2 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 9 receivers, and 2 tight ends. But I think instead we're going to draft 2 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 10 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. Let's try something. We are going wild. I'm going to have to update the title of this live stream. We're not drafting a regular 2022 fantasy football team. We are losing our minds in a live stream. I swam for a while today. Maybe I'm having a sunstroke. I don't know. But we are going to go Kenneth Walker, Kareem Hunt here at the 8-9 turn. We are done drafting running backs. Unless we get some crazy value. It looks like we may be done at tight end. We may be done at running back. We may be taking one more quarterback. And from here, receiver. Let's see if we can save it. Most likely not. Most likely, like we were saying at the beginning of the live stream, home run or strikeout. Looks like we went down swinging, boys. But now we get these tight ends off the board, huh? Now we can get Hawkinson. Now we can get Dawson Knox. Now we can get Dallas Goedert. We really are sitting here in this fantasy football draft with 2 wide receivers through the first 9 rounds. We are halfway through this draft, and we have 2 wide receivers. Oh dear God. Maybe I need to go through and look at some of the drafts that we had earlier today and just show those off in the live stream and go, hey, this is what you should probably do. Now, looking back, now that we've had 6 picks off the board in a row, not a single one of them wide receivers. I am feeling 7 picks in a row, not a single one as a receiver. I am feeling a little vindicated in that maybe we were proven right. Maybe wide receiver wasn't the value there. Maybe we should have gone Kenneth Walker and Kareem Hunt. Okay, so Nick coming out says 12-team dynasty full PBR. I traded Herbert and Devonta Smith for Trey Lance, T. Higgins, and Breece Hall. Don't know if oh, my man. I love that deal. I know most people are going to say, oh, no, you got to keep the top 3 quarterback, got to keep Justin Herbert. But you're getting a massive upgrade from Devonta Smith to T. Higgins. And Lance and Hall, I don't know if they're that far off Herbert. I personally really like that. Okay. Derek Carr going pick 110. At this point, hopefully Gronk's off by the time we're back up. We want Gronk to be off. We want Penny to be off. These are the players that we are allowed to select. These are the names that we are allowed to select. Charles says, who is your favorite NFL team and who's your favorite college team? Favorite college team, Texas Longhorns. I went to the University of Texas. Favorite NFL team, I do not have one, my friend. I try to root for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this past year because I live in Tampa, but I would turn on the game, be going to root for the Bucs. Like I would literally tell myself, like, okay, Mason, we're a Bucs fan this year. And then I would just be sitting there going, okay, how many targets does Chris Godwin have? I wonder what the snap shares between Leonard Fournette and Ronald. I can't watch the game that way. It does in a way ruin it, but it is what it is. I can't complain too much. Okay, do we just push up McCole Hardman so we can have the Mahomes correlation? It's almost our last shot at it. I'm not taking Justin Ross in the 17th. Okay, everybody in the chat, I would love. We have Lucas says, I'm from Brazil and I cheer for the Patriots. I would love if everybody in the chat right now spams what NFL team they root for. Okay, Joshua Palmer, 118. Kirk Cousins, 119. Okay, so we're on the clock. Okay, we have a bunch of people coming in saying what teams they root for. I'm sitting here deciding, do we have to reach on Hardman? You know what? This team is so freaking unique. Does the correlation even matter that much? Let's go Gallup. We'll reach on it. We will reach. I don't want to talk about it. Let's move on. Okay. We're going to make the pick and move on. Make the pick and move on. I don't like reaching to complete our stacks. We're technically reaching 4 picks on ADP. I don't like reaching at all, but okay. So Alberto says Mason isn't a football fan. He's a fantasy football fan. That is actually very true. That is very true. And Lorenzo, 49ers, Bucks, Chargers, Chiefs, Colts, Cowboys, Patriots, Seahawks, Raiders, Steelers. It looks like we got a nice mix. Looks like we have a little bit of everything here. After the Steelers, 49ers, Jets, Steelers, Chiefs, Browns, Chargers, Patriots, Commanders, Bears, Dolphins, Chiefs, Chargers, Pats, 49ers. Mystery says, I'm from Germany and can't seem to root for a team either. Okay, I'm happy that I'm not the only one. It looks like we have a decent representation from every NFL fan base out here. Okay, so let's move this down. We have a little bit of a running back run happening after we take Michael Gallup, Mecole Hardman. Let me know, do you think we should have gone Hardman? If I wouldn't have taken Hardman, honestly, the wide receiver I would have gone for would probably have been Galladay. But I feel like we almost just have to take Hardman. If we're trying to sell a case for Mecole Hardman, he was the only wide receiver in that wide receiver room last year. He is the only wide receiver on the Kansas City Chiefs that has caught a pass in an NFL game before from Patrick Mahomes. Now, he's also pissed off Patrick Mahomes probably more than any other wide receiver in that locker room. I will also give that little caveat, but still. Okay. Steve says, no for Hardman. Like you said, correlation on this build means nothing. I don't want to say it means nothing, but I agree that I think with this build, it means less than it would otherwise. Zach says, Mason, how much do you actually value week 17 matchups and getting correlation in that week? I honestly think that people are overrating the expected value bump that you were getting. And I will admit, week 17, there's so much money on the line in that one spot. But if you're going through and just building out a DFS team and you're trying to build back those bringbacks, how important are they truly? If you have an 18-man roster you're building in DFS for a best ball format, those bringbacks, in my opinion, aren't going to be nearly as important, especially if you are going out of your way and possibly reaching on them and losing out on some expected value by just taking best player available, even though I know that's not necessarily an exact thing. I think a lot of people focusing in on those week 17 matchups are almost going a little bit overboard. And if somehow, some way we get Galladay, I'm going to be very happy. Tolbert off the board. Tua Tagovailoa gone. Okay, so if we're looking at quarterbacks that we would be taking later on, if we can't really take, I guess we could go Winston. I guess we could go Winston. Alberto says, Mason, do you prefer drafting near the start of the offseason or close to week 1? Or is it all the same to you since everyone's working with the same info? I think it is all the same if you're just playing in like a regular 12-team fantasy football league, right? So it's a regular 12-team fantasy football league. You don't have this tournament style at the very end. In that instance, it's almost all the same where I don't necessarily care at what point because it's not like anybody has a leg up on each other. You're all on the same playing field. However, if it's going to be like one of these massive best ball tournaments, like Best Ball Mania, which is what we're drafting in right now, I actually prefer drafting at this time because at this time, this is when there's all the uncertainty. At this time, you don't necessarily know what's going to happen with Michael Thomas. You don't necessarily know what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson. You don't know how long Gallup's going to miss. You don't know the injuries that are going to occur. So there is so much more volatility in drafts today than there will be in drafts in August. I will also admit, historically speaking, in August, those teams on average are going to score more points. But here, there's going to be a wider distribution of outcomes based on the unknown volatility that we have with something to still play out in the NFL season. So with the wider range of volatility, and if we are trying to chase that top 1 percentile team, we are trying to build super duper teams to come away with that $2 million prize, I'm going to prefer drafting now. If I was just like in the puppy drafts when you're all working with the same info and that contest opens and then it closes and it's everybody has the same information under their belt, I don't really care what time of year it is because everybody is working with the same info. Okay, so after this, GA says, I like the barbell approach. I think, honestly, people are definitely overrating the barbell approach. Like, I don't necessarily think that... I think it makes you sound really smart when you talk about the barbell approach to drafting because there are positive and negatives on both sides. I think you just fire up as many drafts as you possibly can right away. Okay, so KJ Osborne goes 152, Keel Herbert 153, because let's use Keel Herbert as a perfect example. So let's go, okay, well, week 1 of the preseason, or he's probably not even going to be playing, but just say during training camp in August, or August, perfect example. August, David Montgomery tears his ACL. David Montgomery's out for the season. Or Dalvin Cook tears his ACL. Dalvin Cook's out for the season. Alexander Madison's a running back 1 this year. Where does the winning team in Best Ball Mania come from? Does it come from the team that had to draft Alexander Madison in the 2nd round in August? Or does it come from the team that got Alexander Madison at pick 122? Especially when there are over 10,000 drafts with Alexander Madison going to a team in the 11th round. So, yes, the barbell approach makes it sound smart. Go, okay, yeah, teams on average score more points in August. We know more about those 16th, 17th, 18th round selections. If we are talking a tournament style like this, fire up as many as you can right away, in my opinion. And, okay, we have a question coming out from Rob. Says, do you have to change all your lineups each week? You're in 10,000 leagues. Okay, I will say this. I know it's almost a meme at this point because we say it all the time. But no, in these leagues on Underdog, go sign up, link in the description, promo code FLOCK. You do not submit your starting lineup on a week-to-week basis. You do not do waivers. Your best starting lineup is automatically submitted for you at the end of every week. It's called a best ball league. So you can draft 1,000 of these teams and it doesn't matter. And I'm probably not going to get to 1,000. I definitely won't get to 1,000 this offseason, but I honestly may get to 400, 500. Okay. So quarterbacks that we were looking at, I would love to get Winston in here. Like I said, we did come away with Michael Thomas. I think Winston would be a natural fit. If we don't get Jameis Winston, I really want Winston. Okay, we'll say that. Maybe we go Matt Ryan. A lot of these teams before us only have one quarterback. Okay. I don't know what to expect. Is this team on auto draft? They go Matt Ryan. There's one of these teams that appear to be on auto. I don't know if they actually are. Is this the Uncle Rico team that may be on auto? No, they go Jameis. Okay, we are screwed. Okay, could we go Daniel Jones and then go with the Wan'Dale Robinson? That's what we're probably going to do. I think with Wan'Dale, there's not a massive gap between him and these other wide receivers that are available to us at this moment. And with Daniel Jones, he also has the rushing upside. Or we could go Corey Davis, Zach Wilson. But the issue is Zach Wilson doesn't have the same rushing upside that you're going to get from Daniel Jones. And if we don't get either one of those players, we're going to go back-to-back receiver here. Okay, no. False takes Daniel Jones. Makes sense. They have Saquon Barkley. They have Kadarius Toney. And they have Kenny Golladay. Daniel Jones was definitely the pick for them. Okay, so we're probably not going to end up taking a quarterback here at this turn. This team has 3 tight ends. They go Gus Edwards. Do we go Corey Davis, pass on QB, and see if we can have a Tannehill or Mac Jones fall to us? If we have a Mac Jones fall to us, we could take Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne. We could take Mac Jones and Tyquan Thornton. Let's just take freaking Corey Davis and Zach Wilson. I don't love Zach Wilson by any means, but it is what it is. So we're going to go Zach Wilson as our second quarterback. We're going to draft 3 more wide receivers. So let's recap this team. It is a gross one. It is an interesting one. And it's probably a team that's not going to put up a lot of points. But Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Kenneth Walker, Kareem Hunt at running back. Tight end, Kyle Pitts, George Kittle. Quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. Wide receiver, trying to capture those spike weeks in a best ball format. Michael Thomas, Adam Thielen, Michael Gallup, McCole Hardman, Van Jefferson, Jahan Dotson, Corey Davis. Do not recommend for you to ever draft a team like this. Oh, dear God. Looking at that wide receiver core, it's about the grossest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And Ted says, why do you need to have a diversified ownership percentage? I'm assuming of a different player. I don't know if you're asking someone else in the chat said you have to. So if you're talking about having like a diversified portfolio of players that you're drafting, I honestly don't necessarily think it matters nearly as much as other people would make it out to be. I mean, I think you almost just take who you like. Now, I would be wary of, say the perfect example, you think that Tua Tagovailoa is a top 5 quarterback this year, right? You are so confident that Tua Tagovailoa is a top 5 quarterback option. And even if he is, say you came back from the future and instead of going and writing down the winning numbers to a lottery ticket, instead of going, okay, the lottery winning Powerball numbers on July 7th were yada, 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 you decided to look at one thing and one thing only. And that was the end of season statistics for Tua Tagovailoa. And you figured out, oh crap, he's top 5 in the NFL in passing yards. Oh, let's draft Tua in every single league this year. Well, at what point do you draft Tua Tagovailoa? Because, well, yes, you would dramatically increase your odds of winning this one league in particular by you could almost get first or second place in every league that you draft if you just reach 2 or 3 rounds on Tua Tagovailoa. But the issue is when we step into that larger field tournament, and Tua is not the perfect example of this, but say if you were reaching on him and you were taking him in round 9, and a lot of other teams were getting him in rounds 12 and 13, all of a sudden, you're going to be going up against other Tua Tagovailoa teams, and on top of it, they're going to have better skill positional players than you. So even if you are overly confident on a player, and even if you end up being right, if you go out of your way and you reach rounds on that option, you almost wipe away any upside that you have of being right and making a profit from it. And John, coming out of the donation, says, doing another draft after this? If so, what kind? Question mark. My man, I am unsure. My girlfriend's here. I am having to prepare for a move. I'm moving across the country in a couple days. I would probably be murdered if I hop in another draft after this one. But after this, let's Paris Campbell off. Ooh, I'm trying to talk myself into this wide receiver course somehow being okay. Like, obviously, we're elite at quarterback, we're elite at running back, we're elite at tight end. It's going to be the nastiest receiver core ever. Let's go Will Fuller. Will Fuller, one of my most drafted players in these best ball leagues. And they're probably going to go Julio Jones as well. Okay, so how can we talk ourselves into this? So Michael Thomas goes back to being a top 5 wide receiver. Adam Thielen, we've seen him consistently be a high-end wide receiver too. We get some random spike weeks between Gallup, McCole, Van Jefferson, Jahan Dotson, Corey Davis, Will Fuller, Julio Jones. Some random spike weeks throughout the season. And then we have Pitts and Kittle both crushing and possibly filling in the flex. Oh my God. You have to do some mental gymnastics to tell yourself that this is a good team. Dog says, I watch every stream, and this is definitely the worst team you've drafted. That being said, It's definitely going to be different. Those wide receivers are gross. My man, I agree with you. I'm with you. I'm trying to do the best mental gymnastics I can, but despite me getting real good at mental gymnastics to try to convince myself that my fantasy football teams are good for years now, not good enough to convince myself that this team is good, but who knows? It's going to be, what would be so funny and what I would like more than anything else. And I want to win Best Ball Mania. Of course, I want to have $2 million in my bank account like any rational person would. But what I want is I want to be able to look back on a live stream and to be able to see the winning team and see it get drafted. Like, I would love, for this to end up being the winning team of Best Ball Mania, and we could all come back in 7 months and watch this live stream. Like, that would be so freaking cool. Alex says, I don't think it's as bad as you think. My man. Deep down, I think it's fantastic. I'll admit that. Okay. So Chance says, how much do you win if you get first place in your group? It's going to depend. So what happens is if you get first or second place in your group, you go into the first playoff round. They have all the breakdowns in prizes and stuff if you just click the info on the page. If you click the info on the page, I believe Best Ball Mania, they have also the rake. So with other sites, like other DFS sites, it's really hard to actually calculate the exact rake that those sites take. What I love about Underdog Fantasy is they just tell you, right when you click on it, this is the rake. This is how much we take from the pot. And Underdog takes 10.2%, which across the entire industry is very low, especially with the platform that we have. And if you sign up with your first deposit, promo code FLOCK, and they match it 100%, you're getting paid to play. Okay. Let's go through, see some wide receivers going off with Brevin Jordan, Logan Thomas, Devin Duvernay at the 203. Is Justin Ross going to be off anytime soon? I guess we probably end up going Justin Ross if he makes it to us. Not really drafting Justin Ross in any of these drafts, but hell, when we take Mahomes, I think we kind of have to. I'm not taking any New York Jets player. I think this is the play here. Justin Ross ends up going the second we talk about him. Let's go through. Fire up. Thornton. If we don't get Thornton, we're going to go Velus Jones Jr. We just need to bring in some more wide receivers. This is just such a gross team. Such a gross team. And usually I'm sitting here in the 18th round going, okay, what good are these wide receivers actually ever going to do for us? Can I not just take a third quarterback here? Can I not just go ahead and take Carson Wentz? And now that we have Thornton off the board, I actually may do it. As I was going to say, on this team, this is the one wide receiver core that I would say, oh, no, Mason, trust me. You got to go ahead and you have to take another receiver. But if we're getting, realistically, how impactful is Velus Jones Jr. ever going to be in this wide receiver room? I know smart people would probably say to take him. False goes Davis Mills. This team has Kirk Cousins, Tannehill. They took 6 running backs. I guess they did wait on for a while, but I just feel like it's so awkward to have to stop at 7 receivers. I mean, you have great receivers, but still. They go Velus Jones Jr. I don't know if they were watching the live stream. I'm going to go ahead and take Carson Wentz. I'm just going to be a stone cold fish. We've already made so many mistakes in this draft. It is what it is. But thank you. I appreciate y'all. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. I'm sorry. I wish we could get another draft going after this. Y'all know I really enjoy these, but I have a very busy week ahead of me moving across the country, so I'm going to. I told myself we were only doing one. We also didn't hit 150 likes on the live stream, so I'll blame it on y'all. We didn't 150 likes on the live stream. We won't do another. But thank you. I truly appreciate y'all. I hope you have a great night. I hope you have a great weekend. Of course, we'll be doing another one of these drafts tomorrow, another one the day after that, another one the day after that. just go sign up Underdog Fantasy, link in the chat. I appreciate y'all, and I hope you have a great night.